بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا وحبيبنا مولانا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا، اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وزدنا علما، يا مقلب القلوب ثبت قلوبنا على دينك، آمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Okay, Bismillah, we are continuing with our bab, inshallah ta'ala. We're on the bottom of page 22. 22. Oh, who did last, sister? What's the name again? Sister Visa, who's next? Sister Amina, Bismillah, inshallah. Okay, so Bismillah, read together, inshallah. Asbabu tayammumi thalathatun. So now we're going into, so we basically now finished wudu and ghusl and what you can and can't do in those things. So this is a new bab, this is the bab of tayammum. What do you understand by the word tayammum? What is tayammum? Who have you taken tayammum before? Few of you. Some of you haven't before. Okay. So the author mentions here asbab, the reasons for taking tayammum are three. Bismillah. The first one is going to be faqtul ma'i. Faqtul ma'i means that you don't, faqt means the absence of water. You don't have enough water, which means one of two things. You either don't have enough water at all, like you have no water, or you have a bit of water, but the water is for drinking. You don't have enough wudu or ghusl. So that could be another thing. Or there is water, but you can't get access to it. Like another thing. So in other words, that absence of water can mean literally no water, or there is water, but you can't get access to it. So, number two. And marad, any illness. When we say illness, we can actually read in the footnote there on the next page. It says there, an ailment that a person fears water would cause harm to life or limb, disability, becoming seriously ill, and increasing in your ailment, a delaying in your recovery from the illness, considerable pain, or a bad effect of the water. So anything like that the water would basically either hurt or to delay your recovery or so on, especially like wounds, like you have a cut or something and you can't put water over it and so on, then that can also be a reason for tayammum. Yeah. Okay, I think let's pose a question, shall we come a bit later into let's just cover a bit of it and we'll answer it yourselves. Yeah, we'll discuss now distance now, inshallah. Okay. I think they're going to discuss distance in here. Let me just see distance in here. No. Okay. Okay, or maybe just discuss some more detail quickly. So faqtul ma basically faqtul ma that you don't have water within your possession. So what they say you must do is that you must walk as far as you can shout, your voice reaches. So that's like 150 meters maybe. You must look in the vicinity of 150 meters, and then if you don't find water there, then you can take tayammum. However, if you know there is water like a bit further than that, then you have to walk to it, if you know for sure. For example, if you know for sure there's a water kilometer away, then you or 2 kilometers away, you actually have to walk for it if there's enough time in the walk left for it. So let me say, yes. So what I'm saying is that the first thing is your responsibility to check your surroundings, like your baggage, your companions, and then you walk like 150 meters around you, like as far as that, or you shout out, is there any water, whatever the case, or you go to a high top and check if there's any water. Obviously, you can't cover every square meter, 150 meters, that's quite a lot. But you basically like assess in your immediate region, is there any water? Once you assess there's no water, and then you can take Tayyamum. Unless you are sure that if I'm going to walk now half an hour, I'm going to find water there, then you have to go find water there. So, if you have time, if you're sure. Oh, then it's fine. It's obviously based on what you're able to do. Someone like bedridden, all of those things will come to those things. These are for people who are obviously able to do it. So, so it makes sense. So not having water means either in your immediate vicinity there is no water. But if there's water further away, if you're sure it's further away, and then you actually have to go get water from there. So meaning, for example, if I'm now in this area now, the water goes off, but if I know if I can go to the tap and there's water available there, like at the end of this road, I must go get water at the end of the road. Because it's close enough for me to walk and to fetch water and to take kudu. You with me? Because the distance is close enough. The ulama actually say the distance that you must walk is 45 minutes walking journey. That's not how far you have to walk. That's if you know there is water within a 45 minutes walk, then you must walk there. If you're unsure, then you must only check in your surroundings. Right? You with me? You're unsure, you must only check in your surroundings. Next one's going to be marad. Marad. So marad is basically anything that's going to either cause illness, cause pain, delay recovery, increase illness, increase pain. Any of those things are going to be marad. Next one. Now, sometimes in this book you can see they're written a long time ago, because I have some interesting stuff happening. But anyway, if you only have enough water, al-ihtiyaj, like the need for it. Imagine you have water. I have so much water, but I have only enough water li'atshi, for the quenching of the thirst of hayawan, of an animal or human being who is worthy of having water. Now, I understand this chapters are difficult. This chapter was written a couple hundred years ago, but there are certain categories that in the fiqh are not considered to be worthy of having water. Who are those? Bismillah. So who are the 6 who are ghayru, not muhtaram? Muhtaram means they're not worthy of water, or 6. Bismillah. Tariq as-salah. Okay. So tariq means someone who forgoes their salah. In the Shafi madhab, if you refuse to make salah, you should be killed. In the Shafi madhab. This is basically, obviously, in a Muslim society, like no Muslim society. For example, say I'm in Medina, in the time of Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. Now there's someone comes and says, I'm a Muslim, but I don't want to make salah. They won't tell him you have to make salah. He said, no, I don't want to make salah. His refusal to make salah is an indication almost of him leaving Islam. You with me? It doesn't mean like it's a negligent person, but I mean this is the severity. Someone refusing to make salah is in the Shafi fiqh equivalent to someone leaving Islam. And that person is you have the right to kill him. Not you, the court, the law has the right to kill him. Meaning the law can say you must make salah, you're a Muslim, you must make salah. If you refuse to make salah, then the law has the right to kill him. Yeah, then normally the negligence, they'll remind them and they'll instruct them, but I'm saying the person who continuously refuses, and then the court eventually has the right to kill that person. Obviously, compared to like our modern progressive world, this is like a different age, and so we want, obviously these laws are not practicable in our context as a minority here. But one could understand that if you are in an Islamic state, you don't want practices that harm deen to start taking root. Meaning what? You don't want practices that harm deen, like fundamentally, to start taking root. And the man says, I'm not going to make salah, and the next one says, I don't make salah, and I don't make salah. It's almost like a bad practice that's going to start. Therefore, on the fundamentals, Islam is actually quite strict with regard to it. Okay. The Hanafis, they don't kill you, but I think they imprison you for life. No. So I think the least punishment of the madhab is to be imprisoned for life. No. Meaning what all the madhab are very strict against someone who willfully refuses to make salah. Yeah. Obviously, in our context in Cape Town is different. Is there an Islamic state in the world that exists? I don't know. There are Muslim states that have elements of Islamic law, but how complete it is and how intact it is arguable. So I don't know. No. The Tariq Salah, the person who basically has abandoned Salah. And you remind the person did not make Salah. Okay. But I think what's useful about the hukam is for us to realize how weighty it is. When someone said don't make Salah, like in Islamic state, a person, if the Shafi state, the person would have been killed. Or could have been killed by the state if the state chose to. Next one. Azani was muhsan. Azani means a fornicator, which is muhsan, that is married or previously married in the Shafi manner. If they're not married, they get 100 lashes. But if they are married or they're previously married, then they can be killed. So everybody, so why are we doing this in Tayyamum? Because if you have water for them and you must take wudu rather, because they're going to die anyway. That's basically it. They're going to die anyway, so take wudu and you make salah. No. It's like someone on death row, basically. Like they're on death row, they're going to die anyway. You take wudu and you make salah. No. Because they're not muhtaram. They're not worthy of it. No. So the fiqh is kind of harsh, but yeah. Yeah, because they can't be found guilty now also. There's no court and things. Next one. A murtad is someone who leaves the faith. Actually, I think all the madhabs, a person can be killed if you leave the faith. Again, you must understand this in a religious state context. If you allow people to start leaving the faith without any consequence, it will start taking root in society, and people will start to become like a cancer, basically. People will start leaving the state. Therefore, once you have entered Islam, you're basically compelled to stay, and if you leave Islam, then they have the right to be killed. Also, you must understand that in the state of, some ulama say this applies more like to a warfare state. Meaning what? When you're at war with the enemy, someone leaving Islam is almost the equivalent of someone going to the enemy side. So that's also the context as well. There's some disagreement, there's some ikhtilaf with it, but generally speaking, the ulama agree that you can kill the murtad, the person who abandons Islam. And there's no hudud. So hudud is basically lashing, cutting of hands, stoning, killing. None of those things apply in our context because we live here as a minority and we have like a contract with the state, like a social contract. So none of this applies in our context. Yes, abandoning one of the pillars of Islam happened in the time of Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. The tribes refused to pay zakah, and Abu Bakr marched upon them and declared war upon them and fought against them until they stopped paying zakah again. Because zakah and salah are one of the pillars of Islam that without it, someone has left Islam. Next one. A kafir al-harbi is basically a disbeliever who is your military opponent. Like a person on the enemy, basically. You have the right to kill that person because they want to kill you as well. So you have the right to kill that person as well. Next one. A vicious dog that like poses the danger to people. That dog can be killed. And the poor pig also can be killed also as well. No. Meaning what? If you have a pig there next to you and you have some water, you can take a duira and give the pig water. Oh. We're not saying you mustn't give the pig water. We're saying if it's between your wudu and the water. Obviously, if you have enough water, you can give the pig water. But I'm saying, like in between the two. So obviously, this is like interesting. What are your thoughts? Islam is meant to rule as a state. Islam is meant to be a state. That's why I have laws for courts, laws for witnesses, laws for punishments. Islam is conceived as the religion of the state, which is supposed to rule. The Muslim state ended exactly 123 years ago, in 1923. From the time of the Prophet until 1923, we had the Islamic State. And 100 years ago, it ended with Kemal Ataturk in Turkey, Istanbul. So all the history of the Muslims were always under Islamic State. Khalifa, Khalifa, Khalifa. All through history until 100 years ago, until the grandparents' time. And this is the first century now we're without the Islamic State. So Islam was always meant to rule. The Islam we find ourselves now is not the normal Islam. Meaning what the Muslims always existed within a Khalifa, within the Islamic State. Like the laws of Islam was the normal country laws. This is the first time in the last 100 years now we find ourselves not with Muslim Islamic states, basically. We have political parties with European systems, French systems of law, British systems of law. They've abandoned the Islamic State law and so on. But Islam was conceived to be Allah's will on earth. Allah's will on earth. No. So the state has a right to kill people, to punish people, any state. Whether it's the US state, the British state, they all have a right to do that. And they do that. In the US, they kill people, they imprison people, they exile people, they put them in jail. The state has the right to do this. So it's not like a surprise that Islam also has the right to do such things. Yeah. It's just that when Islam makes the laws, it makes the laws also with a focus on divine authority. Whereas Western states don't make a law with divine authority. So now it's strange for us to see, but if I leave Islam, why must someone kill me? Because there's no recognition of divine authority within a secular state. But if you rebel against the state, will they kill you? Yes, it's called treason. But if you rebel against Allah, they won't kill you. You with me? So therefore, the Muslim focus is different because the divine has authority. And when Allah tells you to pray and you say, I don't want to pray, and they remind you to pray and say, I don't want to pray, you're rebelling against the authority that's greater than the state. And therefore, you're liable for death. So in other words, we have a theocentric worldview, like a worldview with Allah as the center. So therefore, it manifests itself in the laws of the country. And for us, it's difficult to fathom because we're so westernized. It's almost like the laws of Allah means nothing in actual society. It's all about human rights. So why are human rights greater than Allah's rights? I know it's a bit of a mind shift, but with time, the shift will be made. Yeah. Yeah, what happened is generally classically the ulama used to divide Islam into Darul Islam, the abode of Islam, and Darul Harb, the abode of the enemy. That used to be the classical definition. But now, like scholars have come up with Darul Aman. Darul Aman means like the abode of like this peace, but you're not in charge of the country. So we're like almost in the Darul Aman state. So Aman state is basically that you follow the country's laws and you practice Islam within the laws, but you can't practice certain laws basically. So that's basically where we're at. Yeah, like for example, like Islamic banking is like that. Like we participate in the financial market, so we have Islamic banks, you have sukuks instead of interest bonds. You understand? So like you participate in the state, and you're moving the state closer to Islamic law. Yeah. And I think that for me, it's initially like it's difficult to fathom, but when you see the alternative, I don't know how much better it is. Like how much better is it to lock someone in the cell for 15 years? Like how much better is it? Like it's probably like worse of just cutting his hand and he can cut his life. because the locking up in the cell with a lot of other, like 1,000 other criminals, often makes the person much worse. You with me? So like the person, like, you actually mess up their whole life. And sometimes also what happens is when you release those people go back to crime. Many of them, most of the criminals, they go back to crime again. So if you murder your family, why don't you just murder the person? Kill the person. It's like a disease in society. It's like a disease in the state. Somebody's like murdering other people. It's like shameless boy was killed now, rahimallah. Darun Naim boy was killed here. Like the person who murdered should be killed. I mean, I can even go like killing like people. So there's nothing barbaric about it. Allah says, "Walakum fil qisasi hayat." In this retribution, there's life for you. Meaning what, you have an intact life. Because now we want to be so like human rights, humanistic. Even those who rape and kill and steal, you know, it's a big problem. So the Islamic law generally has also it's like almost like an instant justice, which I find to be like, it's much easier. Just like you either kill the person, or you cut off the hand, or give them lashes, and it's finished. You understand? It's not like you're keeping like thousands of criminals in like cells, and they come out and they go in, come out and go in. It's crazy. And it's a deterrent as well. No. So people always people have like selective judgment, because they will say like, I can cut off someone's hand, but at the same time, that same country will bomb and kill like 1 million people. You know what I mean? Like it's like where do you come in this? We're talking about taking action against a criminal that's found guilty. At the same time, you're saying that's barbaric, but you're able to go and go bomb men, women, and children to pieces, and that's not barbaric because that's you're promoting democracy. Like, who are you fooling really? Like, like what are you talking about? So I think that we must also have the selective morality with regard to it. No. Any other thoughts? There's almost like a discomfort when you say that our belief is that Islam should like be in charge. It's almost like you think that's a fundamentalist, because you've been so programmed to think, oh, are you one of those guys now? They're brainwashing you. Like, it's not brainwashing, it's just what Allah wants. Yes. Mm. Yes, yes, yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I think the difficulty is now, for example, like in Islam, you have like a punishment for fornication. Like in a Western society, that's almost like my free will. This consent. How can you practice all of those things? So you have this conflict basically between the human want and the divine instruction. So in Islam's mind, Islam's always say, listen, we have to implement the divine instruction. We can't human beings do whatever they want, because now he doesn't want to make salah, and then he doesn't want to be a Muslim, and he doesn't want to get married, then they want to sleep around. Like it's like a path that never ends, and that's what we basically see in our society now. So in other words, like all morality will be lost time after time. All morality. That's basically where we find ourselves. So when you read this chapter now, like it's hard to first initially think about like why you're talking about all of these things, but this is how Islam is conceived. It's like very hypothetical. It's just saying you it's time for salah, and you have them, and you have 1 jug of water, and you have your needful wudu. It's not saying they're dying of thirst. It's just saying that in a normal situation, say I have my normal friend with me, and I have so much water, my friend can drink the water. You with me? Because drinking water takes precedence of wudu water. So we're not saying they're gonna die. We're just saying that in that moment, my wudu takes precedence over there. Yeah. But none of you will ever be in the situation, because none of you will be with someone on death row, inshallah, and have no water for wudu. Like it's very unlikely you'll ever really be in a situation. Maybe in the wartime, but I mean it's highly unlikely. Yeah. Bismillah. The question is back there. Yeah, they can drink afterwards. They can drink your used water. Yeah. It's a good idea. You can give them your used water. You take good do, you give the bucket and say Bismillah. That's a good idea. I didn't put in the Facebook here. That's actually a very good idea. I didn't think of that before. Okay. Bismillah. So Nusayb in read inshallah. You want to try or not try? Okay. Bismillah inshallah. What's the name of it? Fawqiyah. MashaAllah. Okay, good. It's already together. Shurutu tayammumi ashara. Shurut, the conditions, the prerequisites of tayammum are 10. Number one, ayyakuna, that it be with turab. What is turab? Dust. So dust is basically, I don't know, I always like, how did you define dust? Dust is dust. But dust is not um, dust is not sand. Dust is dust. Dust basically is almost like when you knock something and you put it on your face, the trace of it will remain. So if I have other pebbles and I put my hand in pebbles, and lift my hand up, there's no pebbles on my hand, and I wipe my face, there's nothing on my face. You with me? So dust is something which I wipe myself my hand in, and then I wipe myself, and then like the stuff remains on there, like rubber. But normal soil basically has dust. They can use like normal soil, like things you can plant things in. All of those are considered to be fine. Yeah. The only problem, obviously, if it's like very hard, like bake and knock it on there, and there's like nothing in my hand. There's not actually dust on there because I'm not knocking it. I'm not transferring dust. But normal soil, you can plant something in, that is considered to be fine to use. I think you should be able to see it, at least feel it. Yeah. If there's enough dust, you can do it. Yeah. Like a dusty pillow or even like very dusty carpet. Like if you put it there, you can see the dust, the ghubar, and you can like feel it in the hand. You can put it there. But it's not dust. Yeah. Bismillah. Okay. Number two, ayyakuna, that be the turab, this dust must be tahir, must be pure. What does it mean pure? It mustn't be najasa in it. No. Number next. And la yakuna, it mustn't be musta'mal, mustn't be used dust. Used for what? Used for what? Tayammum. Meaning what? Like when you, normally tayammum is face and arms. So when you do your face, the dust that you do your arms with mustn't be the dust that comes from your face. So you can't like do this and like do your face and then like do this again and then do your arms. Because you use the dust already for your face. The dust that you come for your arms means it must be new dust. No. You saying that? And mustn't la yukhalitu, mustn't be mixed with it, daqiq, flour, or something like flour. Like basically like some artificial substance in between it. Next one. Or qasd is the same as niyyah, that you must have the niyyah, you must have the niyyah to be using the dust for cleanliness. Meaning what if someone obviously comes and makes tayammum for you without you knowing? Then tayammum won't be valid. You must have the qasd of using tayammum for cleansing yourself. Okay, then yamsaha, that the person wipes, wajahu, his hands, sorry, his face, wa yadayhi, and his hands and his arms, bidarbatain, with 2 strikes. What does 2 strikes mean? You 1 strike on the ground, face One strike on the ground, arms, arms. You don't do it 3 times like we do, only once. One strike hands, one strike arms. Najasa. Ay yuzila, that you remove najasa in najasa awalan before it. Now we dust can't remove najasa like water can. So you first remove najasa from you before you do tayammum. Yajtahida? No problem. Just check it from here. On this one, there's ikhtilaf on whether it's required. So there's difference of opinion with regard to this. But this opinion is saying that because normally you make tayammum after the waqt has entered. Meaning what? If it's now dhuhr time, not dhuhr now. I can't make tayammum now for dhuhr. I can only make tayammum after dhuhr has come. So some ulama put an additional condition, is that I must find the qibla before I make tayammum. But the condition doesn't apply by everybody. So there's difference of opinion with regard to it. But this author is saying, yajtahida, that the person strives to find fil qibla, in the qibla, qablahu, before taking the tayammum. Next one. Okay, next to inshallah, Bismillah, was next to you? Bismillah. Name, sorry? Ibtisam. And that yakuna bi at-tayammum, the tayammum must be ba'da, after dukhul al-waqt, after the entrance of the waqt, the time of salah. Next one. وأي يتيمم, that the person makes tayammum لكل فرض, for every fard salah. Meaning what? It's going to be dhuhr time. Dhuhr comes in, you make tayammum, you make dhuhr. Asr comes in, you make tayammum, you make asr. Maghrib comes in, you make tayammum, you make maghrib. Don't carry over like wudu. When the fard comes in, you must make a new tayammum. Okay. Is it going to come out here? Miss here? Yeah, it's coming now. Bismillah, this time Bismillah, because remember the furud is the components. Yeah. So it says the furud tayammumi khamsatun. How much was wudu? It was 6. Tayammum only, it's 5. What are the 5 of tayammum? Bismillah. Okay, so the question is? Okay. Bismillah. Al-awwalu. The first thing is going to be there must be naqlu. Naqlu means transference of turab. Meaning what? There's dust on the floor, on the wall, wherever the dust is. When you strike the ground, the dust must be on your hand and must be transferred to your face and transferred to your limbs. You with me? Dust must move from the spot onto your face. So, for example, if I was like if I was striking here, and there was like a very strong wind that removed all the dust, and then I didn't make tayammum because it didn't reach my face or my arms. Okay. Athani. Athan is going to be a niyyah. So the niyyah here for tayammum is slightly different. When I am taking tayammum, when I'm taking wudu, right, I can make the niyyah of wudu, or I can make the niyyah of removing the hadath. You with me? Like you broke the wudu, that's called hadath, you can make a niyyah of removing the hadath. When you're taking tayammum, you can't make the niyyah of removing the hadath because you're not removing it. You're just using a dispensation that allows you to make salah. So when you make tayammum, you must make the niyyah of tayammum to allow you to make salah. Okay, so explain English rather is much easier. When you make tayammum, you're making in your mind or in your heart or in your tongue, making a niyyah to make tayammum to allow you to make salah. When you say salah, you also mean salah and Quran and sunnah and all of those things. Because when you make a fard salah, obviously the sunnahs as well. You can make the sunnahs with the same tayammum. You can Quran with the same tayammum as well. But you're basically in Arabic, you're making nawaitu tayammuma li ibahati salah. I'm making tayammum to permit me to make salah. Because you're not actually entering into a state of ritual purity. You with me? You're just using a dispensation like an easing because you can't find water. There's a technical difference in the niyyah. So hadath is basically say I break my wudu, I'm in a state of minor hadath. Hadath means I'm in a state of minor ritual impurity. I can't make salah. So when I take wudu, I remove the minor ritual impurity. You with me? I remove it. With tayammum, you don't remove it. You just allow yourself to make salah. It's like a technical difference. No. So you don't only make the niyyah for tayammum, you make the niyyah of tayammum to allow you to make salah. No. Okay. If you didn't do it before, it's fine, inshallah, because in your mind that was there. No. Next one. The third thing is that you must wipe the face. Rabi'. The Rabi' is going to be must for wiping the yadain, the hands, ilal mirfaqain until the elbows. And number 5. It's also going to be tartib, meaning must to face first between the two wipings, a face and hands. So how do you do it practically? Let me show you how to do it practically. So yeah, I need tayammum. The sunnah is to open your hands, actually not to close it, but open the sunnah. But if you don't do it, it's fine. It's not wajib. You open your hands, you take one strike, and then you have dust on your hand. If you have too much dust on your hand, you can like knock the dust off. Because there's not to cover your face like a dust man or dust woman. It's just to move a bit of dust there. If you have lots of dust, too much, you can wipe it off. You can blow it off a bit also. As long as a bit, and then just wipe your face once. You wipe your face once, and you're done. Then you strike again. The sunnah way is actually to put your hand over your other hand and to keep your hand there. And then you can do this, inshallah. Left hand over your right hand. Left over right. And then you move down with the thumb around you like that until your elbow, and then you move it around in one movement to the inside of your arm like this, all the way down, and all the way like that. And with that same dust, do it again. Don't try again. Just do the right hand like this. Oh my, you're covering the whole thing. You're not literally putting dust, like like it's the whole thing is being covered in one way. And then you finished. No feet, hands and face. Some other ulama would say only face and this part of the hand, but the Shafis is well. There's two methods. The one is that technically you must have dust transference, knuckle. So if it wasn't dust transference, your tayammum wouldn't be valid. But the second thing is that if you take tayammum in a place where there's normally water, you must repeat the salah. Meaning what, if the water goes off now and there's 2 minutes left and we all take tayammum in the courtyard there to make salah, we have to make repeat of the salah. So whether your tayammum was accepted or not, you have to repeat the salah, and all your friends must repeat salah. Because the water was off for 4 hours, which means it's normally water, and it came back on again. So you must tell all of them must repeat the one salah. No. It's more on about traveling. Yes, like more on traveling on a bus to Medina, it's up by the desert and all of that stuff. It's not when your water goes off in your house and the water is going out. You must take tayammum, make salah, but you must repeat the salah again afterwards. Yes. So let me explain it too. So you can take a, a, a tayammum in place of a wudu, and you can take a tayammum in place of a ghusl as well, a fard ghusl as well. No. But now, let me just get this right quickly. Yeah, it's fine. Inshallah. Now, say in the haram, you can use a spray bottle. Now, so if you're in the haram and there's no dust and no water, you have to leave. Because remember, the water will be in walking distance. You understand? So the haram thing I mentioned, you can use a spray bottle to make wudu. But you can't make salah. Yeah, like I can't, for example, say, yes, no water, I'm take the tayammum here because the water here is outside. It was means like it's in walking distance. So if the water is close, then you can't take tayammum. Yeah. No, it's a proper value to do, but just try to ensure that some drops come off from you. Even like 2 or 3 drops come off your limb. So like it's defined as a washing, you know, the wiping. You're not supposed to, you mustn't wipe your face, you must wash your face. Which means you can't just like wet and just like go like this and nothing comes off. So like let some drops come off at least and you know that that's like defined as washing. Okay. Someone should remove it for them. Okay, that makes a lot. They repeat again when they're better. And when they're never better, then they carry on with life. Yeah. So the question was, what if you're in like in a bedridden and you have najasa on you? Obviously, the first thing is that someone should remove it from for you. If you can't do it yourself, what happens now? Say like the walk is 10 minutes now, and no one's removing it from you. You make salah as you can. Remember, we also spoke about the person who has no water or dust. The same thing. You make salah as you can, and then you repeat salah again. So like for salah, it's like a simple rule. If you have water, you make salah. You take wudu with water, you make salah. If you have no water but you have dust, you make salah with dust, and you make salah. If you can't do, if there's something missing in salah, like for example, I have no jasa on me, or I can't stand, like in the plane, I can't stand, or I can't face the qibla, or I can't do anything like there's something missing, like fundamental, then I make salah as best as I can and I repeat the salah. You with me? You make salah as best as you can and you repeat the salah. Why? Because it's almost like you've honored the time of salah. Yeah. Yeah. All good. So you all want to make tayammum. Let's make tayammum together, inshallah. This, not that, but this is practice, inshallah. The first thing, obviously, is not the first thing, but it's obviously sunnah to say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. And we're making the intention of tayammum to perform salah. Obviously, the waqt came in already, and I know the qibla is. So Bismillah, you strike once, and then on your face. You try and cover your whole face, in your eyes, here, and all of this, and you cover your face. And then you strike again, and you go like this. Just one wipe all the way here, around here, around here, around here, around here. And the same thing here. Only one strike. One strike. You do both. Only one strike. No. The law normally speaks about let me check it out inshallah. The law normally speaks about when like the water goes off and you take Tayyamum and you must mix the water again. I must check with regard to sickness. The question is, if you're in hospital like for a period of time, like for 10 days, and then you take the Tayyamum for those 10 days, but there is water there, but no one brings the water to you, do you have to repeat the salah? Yeah, just say hospital repeat salah, Tayyamum. Yes, sir. Yes, there are concessions, but the question here is only if someone's for only period of time, like 3 days, 4 days. Not like they have like a terminal. If they're chronically ill, it's different. Then we say, no, it's Bismillah, don't repeat. Meaning what the person has like bedridden, they're sick and they're old. You know, but I think she's talking more about like if an able person going to hospital like to tonsils or something and then like for 2 days. Yeah. Yeah. Let me first check with before answering. So, I don't mean like that. You mean the dust you can see in the sun? Yeah. If it's like a lot of dust, you can make the niyyah of it, yes. If it's a lot of dust to cover your face. Like in a dust storm. But like a few things, I don't think we have to cover your limbs. Yeah. So even make the also you must like remove your watch and your ring and all those things. Because they must say must go everywhere. So yeah. It's to be difficult. The sun what happened, the air doesn't have enough dust for the Tayyamum generally. Unless like in a dust storm, and then you can Bismillah. Okay. If there's sufficient dust on the walls, depending on like there's no dust in there. Maybe dust, you might be like able to like see the dust. Yeah, unless you're Maliki, you come to Maliki now. No. You must like know this dust. What I'm saying is that like I can't like assume like if I do this, it's dust here. You understand? I must know there's enough dust to make knuckle of the dust from the surface to my face. So I must know there's dust. Do you know what I mean? No. Like sufficient dust. No. If someone is like chronically ill, I prefer to use the Maliki method. The Maliki method we can use a rock. Even with no dust. Like a rock or a stone. So I'm saying like the easier view for someone comes, say someone is like bedridden and now they must make salah like 5 times a day, and I'm doing dust every time. That can be difficult. So unless you maybe have like a dust container where they take the Tayyamum, that's possible. You can bring it every time. But the Maliki method also allows you to use a rock. Even a smooth rock with no dust. You wipe on the rock and you do your hands, wipe on the rock, you do your arms. That is in the Maliki madhab. It's an easier madhab to practice, especially for people who are sick, like terminally sick. Because it's hard sometimes to get dust and all of those things. I don't know all the madhab. I'm not checking something. No.
I mean, for me, like if I like say I take on a office and another office like a sweater or like a clothing, they can be also dust in there or like that clothing fine, but they look like dust in. But they just not dust from the earth. We have to say the fiber, cotton, yes, but in general, I always understood it's like soil stuff, like I go into my garden make this, or I'm somewhere in nature or whatever, but it's like going to pictures.
Yeah, the original one is basically obviously like the dust of soil. That's the original ruling. If it's like if you know it's like clothing fiber, then it's not considered to be dust. But if it's like say I like leave a room closed like for 3 weeks and I open it and there's lots of dust, that won't be clothing fibers. It will be like almost like the dust of the earth playing around, sticking to it. Because you know, so it's not like a fiber that's artificial to it. Yeah. Yes, you can do it. Yes. 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 You can have like a big dust container, or like you take a lot of earth, and then you can just knock it and you can do the face. Yeah, but you mustn't put too much dust on it. Remember, the idea is that if you knock it and there's too much dust, you might knock the dust off. Again, the idea is not to cover yourself like going for wall paint or something. The idea is to just a light covering. If the sunnah is actually to blow it off, use too much before you wipe. You have a little bit, yes, but not like you must like put like a lot of soil, like scoop it up and I put my face in the soil and like scoop it up. You know what I mean? It's not like that. It's a little bit, yes. But after you can wipe it off, yes. Yeah, you can wipe it off, yes. It doesn't have to stay. It doesn't have to stay there. You can wipe it off. Let me think about it, inshallah. There's a nice business idea. You guys can sell buckets of dust. You can make a Zahra Institute approved dust. In the garden also. Yes, you can do this. Yeah, but remember, you assume it to be pure unless you know it's not najasa. You assume it to be pure unless you know that it's najasa. The same with the soil outside. You assume it to be pure unless you know there's najasa. There's always going to be a possibility of najasa anyway. So we don't go on the possibility. We go on what is known. What time does period end? Allah, that was, oh, my watch on do not disturb. That's why. I think so. That's why. Okay, barakallah. We continue tomorrow, inshallah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Similar questions, inshallah.